28 Weeks Later, starring Robert Carlyle, Rose Byrne, Jeremy Renner, and Idris Elba. It's the sequel to 28 Days Later, which was written by Alex Garland, directed by Danny Boyle, so a lot of talent behind the film, and was a really solid zombie apocalypse flick. This one has a completely different set of creatives behind it, and unfortunately, it is absolutely dogshit. Mainly because of the terrible, terrible, terrible writing and the fact that nothing whatsoever seems to make sense in the story. Now, the film actually starts out pretty amazingly with a self contained prologue sequence with people on a farm being attacked by zombies, or to be precise, people infected with a rage virus, but I'm just gonna call them zombies anyway. It's about a 10-minute long sequence which is designed to basically remind us what kind of a world this is, what happened, and it really is impressive in a way that it quickly escalates things and how it's cleverly shot to really enhance the feeling of danger and terror. Then we get a quick timeline of events. Apparently, the UK was quarantined, and the other countries basically waited for all the infected people to die of starvation instead of fighting them. And now it's 28 weeks later, and the US Army is slowly beginning to reclaim London. They've established a safe zone inside the city, and people are starting to settle back in there, but there's still heavy security and military presence. And even though the infected should all be dead across the islands, they still understandably don't want to risk a new outbreak as a result of some stragglers. So they very slowly just canvass the place and gain more ground. Two kids arrive in London as well and are reunited with their father, who was the sole survivor of the prologue sequence, where their mom apparently died. And they decide, these kids, to bypass security, to go explore the empty London on their own and visit their old house, where they actually find their mom still alive. She's taken back to the safe zone after some blood tests. It turns out that while she may not exhibit any symptoms of the virus, for whatever reason, she still carries it and can definitely spread it to other people. And you can kind of guess what happens from there. So let me say this, the prologue is really good. Then the premise that this isn't actually the beginning of the original outbreak, but rather people trying to recreate society after that zombie apocalypse is basically over, that's also quite interesting and fresh. But the moment the stupid fucking kids arrive in it, it all immediately goes downhill and the writing ceases to make any sense at all. And hey, the kids being stupid is one thing, okay? Kids are stupid, so I can roll with that. But the point is, rather, that the movie enables their stupidity and the stupidity of others by breaking many of the rules it establishes for itself and doing things that just don't follow any logic at all. I'll give examples, which will be a bit spoilery for the first half of the film. So, the movie makes a point to show us that there are cameras everywhere in the safe zone, checkpoints with soldiers requiring IDs to get through, armed guards at all exits, snipers on the roof. Basically, nobody gets in, nobody gets out. And then the kids just slip past all of that, no problem. I was starting to lose it when they were crossing a bridge. And then it gets worse because a sniper spots them, tells everybody on the radio, but despite the fact that the kids are still basically within reach of anyone, nobody stops them right there and then. They are instead allowed to roam around London for God knows how long until they run into their mom and are finally rescued by the army. Then I couldn't suspend my disbelief. I didn't believe that this could ever happen in this world, in the world of the film, because it requires every adult person there to be a dumbass that doesn't follow established procedure. Then they get the mom into the compound and okay, I can buy that she survived all those weeks on her own. But then the movie again establishes very clearly that she's to be quarantined in a separate room, armed guards, nobody goes in, she's even restrained to the bed. After all, she can be carrying the virus, they don't know for sure. And then there's the scene where the doctor confirms that she can be spreading it. She does the blood tests elsewhere in the building. And we cut back to the mother. Suddenly there's nobody guarding her, no cameras, nothing. And the husband just walks in and starts kissing her on the mouth. What the flying fuck? And then of course they fail to do any sort of lockdown, and then it's the middle of the night. For some reason, the army decides that part of the lockdown procedure is to turn off all the lights everywhere. How is that supposed to help them locate a single zombie that's inside the building? I don't know. Turn the lights on, you bloody morons. And then the next thing happens, and the next, and I mean, the movie is just one stupid fucking moment after another to the point that it becomes unbearable. I was seriously considering not finishing it. I ended up making it through the ending though, but here's the thing. It's one of those rare movies where the story is written in such a monumentally idiotic way that for me, it eclipses absolutely everything else. I mean, the movie is well shot, has a really washed out look reminiscent of the previous film. It is interesting cinematically because it was shot during the day and then that footage was altered with a special process to make it look like night for several reasons. The sound mixing is pretty great, the sense of paranoia in some of the scenes works, but I was just completely unable to enjoy or appreciate any of this because I was so angry with the plot. I think it's offensively stupid and it's insulting to the audience to shoot a movie based on that script with a straight face. So, yeah, I have to say I hated it quite a lot. I really liked the previous film, but this is a sequel that I prefer didn't exist. It's got a great opening sequence, and it has a really cool ending sequence as well with a memorable final shot. But everything in between, it's just a load of infuriating nonsense.